After that win, I know you're hooked. Welcome inside another edition of The Stampede, a podcast on the Texas Longhorns. We appreciate you joining us alongside Mack Brown and Vince Young. I'm Bob Ballou. You can get us anywhere you get your podcast, YouTube, Apple, Spotify. Rate and review us on social media at The Stampede UT. We've got a lot to get into. Obviously, the Texas 27-17 win over Texas A&M Friday night.
Yeah.
We'll get into how about that, Vince? How
yeah,
about that,
to
Vince?
those Aggies that was out there running their mouth. Like, y'all got to be quiet, man, and stay calm, man. Y'all just started winning, and y'all want to talk a little smack. Please.
Stay humble.
Stay humble. Please
Stay humble. You see what happens if you don't. We'll talk about the Texas win. We'll get into the coaching carousel. Obviously, a ton going on in the SEC and around the country. And I know Mack has some great perspective on that. And we'll get into the college football playoff and just kind of what's happening with Texas and where they should or shouldn't be and kind of get some differing opinions on that. But let's start with what happened Friday night because, I'll defer to you guys on this. I don't know that I've seen a better atmosphere. Mack, you were there. I don't know if there's been a better atmosphere at DKR ever. I thought back to maybe 2012 West Virginia with Geno Smith when he came in town. There were a few games like that, but the night game against the rival for the first time in 15 years with the drone show and the lights and everything else. Have you been a part of anything like that in Austin?
I really haven't. I thought it was a difference in the ball game.
Yeah,
I thought it mattered. It stirred Texas up. The first half was just okay. It wasn't good. And I thought with A&M scoring right before the half, maybe in trouble at middle eight. And then Texas came out and totally dominated not only the third quarter, but the rest of the game. And I thought the fans made a difference. They didn't boo. They weren't angry when things weren't good. And I've seen both of those. And Vince has too. We've been booed. That's part of it. But I thought it was like the fans came to help them win the game and win the rivalry, and they did, and just the band, the atmosphere, the people, it was like a happy place, and everybody knew that Texas was going to win, and they were pumped and they were excited, and they wanted to help them get to the playoff, and congratulations to you Texas fans. I mean, like you said, Bob, big check mark, man. We had some wonderful atmospheres, Vince. And the bigger the game, the better the crowd. It was always that way. But right now, the Bevo Boulevard, I got there early because I was doing some TV stuff, and I mean, it is packed. Yeah. And it's packed 2 hours before the game, and people are enjoying it. And as I thought one time when I came to Texas football's an event. It's not a ball game. It's an event. Yeah. I mean, people move weddings and wedding receptions just to come to the game because when's the game?
What's that schedule look like?
Yeah, what's that schedule look like?
They start. Where's Texas OU weekend? Whichever weekend that is. I know we can't do it then. Then we go into the home games. We can't do it then.
And now we're back to Thanksgiving. We can eat turkey together and then hate each other.
Yep.
I mean, that's it. And it's such a wonderful game that you see maroon shirts stuck in the middle of all that burnt orange because that's the brother that couldn't get in Texas, or they're mad at him, or they hate him because he married outside the family, or something. And the same thing with I keep seeing that picture of the one Longhorn fan in the middle of the Texas A&M band, and he's sitting there with his horns up, and it's only one, and that's what makes that game so cool. It's so unique because it's about families in the state of Texas.
And in Austin, obviously, they say, what do Longhorns and Aggies have in common? They both applied to Texas.
That's always no question. That's not funny to them.
That's not funny to them.
But Fred Caldwell, who played for R.C. Slocum, and R.C. said that the Corps marched through Austin. Their band marched through Austin.
Up Congress. It was amazing.
Up Congress, and said it was the coolest thing. And you got to give the Aggies credit for their traditions. There's some tremendous traditions here. They've got great traditions, too. And that's what makes this game so special. And on Thanksgiving, it makes it special. And you figure out how you're going to eat. And Thanksgiving's not near as good when you lose. We've tried that, too. So you have your Thanksgiving on Saturday instead of Thursday for a Friday night game. And it's such momentum going into the playoffs for Texas. Arch played great. Vince, you said it. There's a process. He gets better every week. I looked at these stats last night. In the last 5 games, Arch has thrown for 1,493 yards, 298, nearly 300 yards a game, 12 passing TDs, 3 rushing TDs, and he caught one.
And he
So
caught
he's got 16 touchdowns in the last 5 games.
And I think
so
just a pick or 2, if I'm not
yeah,
mistaken. It's not.
yeah. Well, all the hype now is coming into fruition because Colt and Vince said there's a process. There's a learning process. You go through bad times to get to better times. And all of a sudden now, Arch is looking like the guy that everybody called him out to be before the season. And I'm so proud of him. His personality, it hadn't changed. The way he's handled it, he's just gotten more confident. He hasn't been rude to the media. He hadn't been rude to the fans that picked on him, and that's tough to do. It's tough to do at 74. It's really hard to do at a younger age when you're in your 20s. Yeah.
Vince, what did you make of the atmosphere that you got to see on TV? And when you go back, do you remember an atmosphere that was anything like that? I mean, you had a couple night games, but the
Yeah, I
Oklahoma
mean,
State comeback obviously was one that was pretty amazing.
we said it the week of the game. We was like, "Hey, fans, we're gonna need you to be loud. We're gonna need you to be there." And they came out and they showed out. For our fans to get 4 false starts, um,
Yeah.
delay a game. That's kudos to them for being loud and
Winning
confusing.
performance. Winning
Exactly.
performance for the fans.
That doesn't happen a lot. Like
Yeah,
that's
no,
not that's
exactly.
something. Yeah, it's something.
And that's
definitely new.
just respect for them too. The student section they kept showing on TV, and the one kid took his shirt off and started doing the belly roll. I was
All
like,
red.
wow.
All red.
Exactly. And that type of stuff is what I love about college football, and especially at the University of Texas. So, to Chris Del Conte and the rest of the staff, and to our UT security system, that the state troopers, the Austin Police Department, people keeping us safe. It's a lot of hands go into that atmosphere that we have an opportunity to enjoy. And I had an opportunity to enjoy it, the Arkansas game. And I got a chance to do a couple of tailgating, go out and walk around with the fans and tell them thank you. The love that is embraced in that stadium and in that town is unbelievable. And the whole entire nation got an opportunity to see it on TV against a really, really great football team that had no idea that they were stepping into that atmosphere because of the fact they haven't seen it over 9 to 10 years. That just as much as you guys have a great stadium down in College Station, when you come to Austin, you about to see a great atmosphere as well. So I was, very very impressed from seeing it on TV. I didn't get a chance to make it because I was enjoying life with my family and doing the things that I appreciate. But in the same time, watching that, I enjoyed every bit of it. And like you said, with the whole entire team, I really felt like they got the message that Coach Stark was preaching all week. This is not about A&M. This is about us. And a lot of people was a little bit. I got a couple of text messages like, "What's going on that first half?" I'm like, just calm down. It's 4 quarters to this game, and the way that these guys came out the second half made a lot of adjustments at halftime, and guys came out and finished the game the right way they supposed to. Our defense played really well, and like you said, Arch did a great job. We had a couple of miscues, a couple of drops that first quarter that is uncharacterized of those players. But in the same time, when you depend on your quarterback and your quarterback depend on you, you got to make those plays. And I really feel like Coach just said, to see Arch growing and not getting frustrated. It was a point in time I saw him put the football into the camera when they was watching when he was warming up. That type of stuff, you can't coach that type of stuff. That is exactly who he is. And that's what I've been telling him. And that's what Coach McCoy been telling him and Coach Stark, I'm pretty much just say, man, continue to be you. This is why we brought you to Texas, man. We want you to embrace the opportunity, but also we want you to be who you are. And this is the reason why he is going in the right direction because of the hard work he's putting in and not letting people distract him for the ultimate goal. So I'm very proud of Arch right now, and I can't say it enough. I'm so happy for him because of his swag. It's what you got to have at playing that position at UT.
And
So I'm
Vince
proud
would
of
have
him.
been dancing on TV. He would have
Oh,
put the
yeah.
ball in the camera. He would have put his face in the camera and said, "Hey, baby.
Yeah.
Hey, baby, you ready to go?" So they're learning from him. But Vince and I never got to tailgate. It's really
Right,
interesting to see
right.
what
Yes.
happens outside of a stadium before a game. I
Yes.
mean, I was in there throwing up. Vince is in there all nervous, and we're tense, and they're out there drinking and eating and having fun,
Then getting
and
ready to
then
yell at you.
you're getting
Getting
ready
ready to
to
yell at
yell
you.
at
Or
us. And
cheer, or
but
cheer.
I
Right.
will say, so many fans have come up to me and said, "We're listening to the Stampede, and
Oh,
we
yeah.
love the insight." So thank you, fans. Thank you
Yes.
for listening, and thank you for paying attention.
I'll tell you what, for a long time, DKR Texas Memorial, there was a bit of what they call a wine and cheese crowd. You changed that with "Come Early, Be Loud, Stay Late, Wear Orange," and I feel like it's gotten back to that again, where it's come to Bevo Boulevard early, go to the concert, get here early. We're gonna have a drone show at night. They've only had 2 SEC night games, which is really unfortunate because that place is awesome at night.
Mhm.
The drone show was absolutely incredible. If you haven't seen it, go online and try to find it because it was that good. But Texas was good too. And I really related it to the Oklahoma game. You know, at Oklahoma, 6-3 at the half, they're down, and everybody's just kind of like, what is going on with this team? And they come out like gangbusters in the second half. It was 10-3 at the half with Texas A&M, and the exact same thing happens. What do you think was the biggest difference in that second half for Texas?
You have to give coaches credit for adjustments. I mean, when they don't, we criticize coaches for adjustments. So they adjusted the head because they came out more confident than they went in. So obviously the coaches didn't yell at them and say, "This is awful and you're playing bad," like I did at Kansas that night. They picked them up because they came out with a swagger like, "We're good, man. Just hang on. We're good. We've got it." They ran the ball much better in the third quarter. I think it was 82 yards to 7 or something.
I mean, the first play of that Texas had in the third quarter was the longest run of the year from Quintravian
Yeah.
Wisner at 48
Yeah,
yards.
so
Those
Wisner came back. Arch made some unbelievable plays when he started running that really upset the Aggie defense. And then the one play where I was mad at him because he stepped up and he started to run, and I said, "Great," is one of those Vince plays. He stopped and threw it, and Wingo makes a great catch in the end zone. If he'd have thrown it over his head, I was yelling at Arch, "Come on, man, you hit a first down, run the
Oh
ball."
my
And then
God.
it's a touchdown. It was one of those Vince. No, Vince, no.
Oh, oh
Great,
yes.
great job,
way to go,
Vince.
Vince.
That's good play. No, I thought you were going to do that. It was good. I just
And it was pretty funny because the possession before that, he did where they kicked the field goal. He did the exact same thing where he had a lot of room to run, and everybody was like, "Why is he not running?" Sark told him at half, "Keep your eyes up." He felt like he had gotten his eyes down when he was trying to run. Just go run again, like he did early in the year. He's like, "Keep your eyes up and look for that throw. Even if it looks like there's a lot of open field, you can still throw it." And then he didn't the first time, and we were all like, "Oh, run it, run it." And then the second time, it was like, "Run it, run it." And then he finds Wingo for the
yeah.
touchdown.
Well,
So
we've talked about if you win the running game, which Texas dominated the running game the second
yeah,
half, and you win the turnover game, and Texas dominated the turnover ratio with the 2 interceptions at the end. I love Michael Taft's interception
yeah.
right on the goal line. Just
Most
last
fitting
game, senior.
interception
Yeah,
ever.
that checks a lot of boxes for Michael because he's come so far from a walk on to an All American. He's done so much for this program, and really proud of him. But when you dominate the running game and you win the turnover ratio, you're going to win the game.
Yeah.
It just depends on how much. And Vince, I'd like to hear your take. I thought Marcel, after he got hurt, didn't look as smooth, didn't look as confident, and they were all over him. I mean,
Yeah.
they could not run the ball, and Texas could, and that gives a quarterback time to throw because when you can run it, you can protect. You can't run it, you can't protect. So it all ties together.
Yeah, I thought at one point in time when he did get hurt, which we don't never want to see a player get hurt like that, but I thought we should have blitzed him more. We dropped back into zone, which I was really upset yelling at the TV like, "Coach, he's hurt. Blitz him. Get him out of his character. Don't let him get comfortable," which, sometimes he did. And then he took off sometimes. But in the same time, when you see someone get hurt like that, you're supposed to let all bullets fly, not drop back in zone, which we still made some good plays and still play really well. But I thought we should have definitely attacked him a little bit more. And I mean, he did have a good game until he got hurt. I thought once he hurt his ankle, he was a little iffy about making moves, taking off with the ball, patenting, holding the ball a little bit longer. That goes back to respect to our defensive our backs for making some good holding their own and making some plays. But in the same time, me, I thought he was going to tear us up beat us really bad with his legs and arm, but significantly he got hurt and he couldn't move around and couldn't do the things that he wanted to do. So I just feel like our defense didn't play the good game. I thought that they stayed disciplined, and that young man Simmons, that young man causes habits back there. And the way he was talking trash and still helping to read up after he make a tackle or a sack or a big tackle or hit, just to show the character of him. And he's going to play for a long time on the next level. He reminds me what's his name? Green Bay.
Micah Parsons.
Michael
Parker. Yeah,
Parsons.
he remind me of him right now that he just got a high energy and don't want to get off the field. And that's really good for him.
Vince, we had a linebacker at North Carolina my first time there named Dwight Hoyer, and he played a long time for the Dolphins. He was really good. He'd mean. He'd knock you down. Every time he'd pick him up, and I'd say, "What do you say when you're picking him up? What do? You just knock the guy out." And he
Right.
said, "I'm saying, hey, good run, man. I'm gonna be right back."
Yeah,
You
I'm
know
on
that.
your butt
So
all day.
yeah. So that's what I see in Colin. He does it with a smile, but they know it ain't good, brother.
He's
It
coming
played
back for
really
more.
well. It
I'll
caused
be
some
right
havoc.
back.
I thought the defensive effort was even more impressive to do what they did without Anthony Hill,
Right.
who's just been a beast all season long, Butkus Award finalist. To not have Anthony, but to your point, Vince, to have Colin doing what Colin always does, I thought allowed Ethan Burke to play maybe his best game at Texas. 9 tackles, half tackle for loss, blocked field goal. The senior from Westlake, like going out the same way Michael Taft did. It was just
What was
it was
that? A
just a
punt
perfect
return,
night for him.
kickoff return. He saved when he grabbed the
He's-
guy.
I mean,
Yeah.
he grabbed the jersey of Casey Concepcion on the punt return.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and I told you, KC's the man now. He's
Oh
the deal.
yeah,
I thought he was going to win the game
Yeah,
because they're
and
putting
he
the ball
played
in
well
his hand
last
every
year
time.
too. He
Yeah,
played well last year.
I've seen him do that, Vince.
yeah.
He's
Coach
one,
got to see it up close and personal.
yeah,
Vince.
he's one of the reasons I'm sitting here
Big
today.
kid.
So that's it.
He almost
But
taller than me.
yeah, no, and he can run. But we also had lost another linebacker because of the
Yeah.
targeting.
Yep.
So
Ty
the
Anthony
fir-
Smith missed the first half.
So the first half,
Boy, his second half was awesome though. He
Yeah.
came out ready to
No,
go.
he was fresh.
He was fresh and ready. To go.
and I talked to Sark before the game, and he told me Anthony's out, but the other young man, he said, if we can just hang on till halftime, we'll be okay. He'll be okay. We'll come back, and we've got enough depth. But that's another credit to their evaluation, to their depth. And you lose key players this time of the year, and you got guys to step up and make plays, and great teams do that.
And I
Well,
like to give Arch some more credit because right before the half, he took that sack from number 11 that I thought he could have shift his weight, make a miss, and then throw the ball away. And then he came back the second half, and 11 had him beat again, about to sack him, and he did exactly what I'm talking about. He slid and took off, and I guess he threw the touchdown pass on that one.
I
This
think
is
that's the one I was screaming at him.
exactly.
Run!
So I want to give him respect for going to the sideline, not getting upset, watching the film of that play and saying, "Okay, what can I do better on that?" And this is why he is going to be a great quarterback at the University of Texas because he saw what he could have did better in the pocket instead of taking that sack. And I think we lost field goal range at that point. And knowing what he did and fixing the problem and coming back the next series or the next half and remembering that play and shifted and made a move and got out on the curve and threw the ball on the run for a touchdown. This is the reason why this young man is going to be good for plays like that, that everybody else might been upset about him taking that sack. But he went back and watched film, listened to the quarterback coach, did what he needed to do, and come back for the next series and making an outstanding play from a worst play into a great play. This is why Arch is going to be really good.
Yeah, and if you think his granddad was one of the greatest to ever play, he and Steve Hatchell are basically running the College Football Hall of Fame. Peyton and Eli are two of the best to ever play. Cooper was a great athlete and very successful in business. So this young man is surrounded by people who get it, who have been through exactly what he's doing, and then he's got you and Colt to help him just with stuff around this place. But it's not surprising to me that he's handled it like he has. And Next year, we go back to talking about Heisman. We go back to talking about number 1 draft choice because now he's earned it.
Yeah.
And before it was just the name, and it was very unfair to him. But that's why he's got so many good people around him that can hug him and yell at him and tell him that just what Vince told him. Step up, man. Don't step around. But they've all been coached. They've all been yelled at. And Archie Manning's one of the smartest, nicest people I've ever met. And he was a great player, not a good player. And he was a guy who could pull it down and run before we were pulling it down and running. But he was making those plays.
I want to say one thing about Cooper because I thought this was really cool. He doesn't sit in a suite. With the Manning name, you feel like maybe he has to be away from the fans. Every game, he's in the middle of it all, like he's soaking it all in. But when Arch had that touchdown run, the first shot on TV was to Cooper, and he was jumping up and down like he was a kid. And I thought it was one of the coolest things I've ever seen. I know parents love their kids, and I know they love to watch them play and all that kind of stuff. His reaction to that touchdown run was one of the coolest things I've ever seen.
Yeah, I recruited all three because Cooper was a receiver out of New Orleans, and they were all very talented. Cooper's probably the funniest of the bunch.
Oh, I can see that.
And
Peyton and Eli are hilarious.
And they're hilarious. I'm not talking about a D and an F here. I'm talking about an A and an A minus. But Cooper is funny. He's smart. He's very successful in business, and he's been able to take the Manning success in football of the other three, and still have a life of his own. He separated and stepped up, and you got to give him credit. And plus Olivia, a grandmother. She's tough, man. She's smart. She's beautiful. And she is a voice in that family, like all the grandmothers we've had. And she stays out of the limelight. But let me assure you, Olivia's making some decisions in that family.
Right. And then from that point, what you said, Bob, as a parent, your struggles that, your son is going through. I deal with it with Jordan and my kids, and you always be like, "Dad, just stay patient, baby. Just keep working. Just keep working." And for that moment that happened, for him to break on that big run for that touchdown, you don't have no, people have no idea the the happiness just went through his whole body
Yeah.
because of the fact, not only just dad, but for Arch. And when my son got that interception and pick six to the house, and for me to be there because I was supposed to be in Austin, to be there to live it with him because of the fact that, yes, Arch and my son, they are human. They're listening. Sometimes they can't have no choice but to listen to the naysayers and what people were saying about you. But in the same time, people don't know behind the scenes, you working your butt off to be this top player in the country. And you might have these ups and downs and this adversity and things like that, but for that moment Cooper to be there for his son and me to be there for my son, to know that that moment right there is the reason why we play the game and why we are parents and why we are happy for our son, because the stuff they grow through, and for them to have that moment to release all that stress and all that anger that might be inside that in them, it's just a beautiful moment to see, and I'm glad that the camera put that on him to be excited with his son.
And
That's
people are
beautiful.
emotional during a game and they get angry. So the
Yeah.
things that Cooper and his family have heard about Arch this year are
Yeah,
awful.
sure.
Yeah,
We're at North Carolina, we're playing USC, and we went to a pro game the night before. It was one of those preseason pigskin classic things that we had back then, and John Robinson was just back and is really cool. I'm sitting in the stands. There's these three guys behind me, and they're talking about their USC fans. They're talking about the game tomorrow, and they said, "Yeah, well, we're going to kill him. That Mack Brown's an idiot. He's just stupid. Have you ever seen him coach? Even looks weird on the sideline." Well, Sally's sitting next to me, and they turn around, they start doing this, and then one of them said, "Oh my God, I think that's Mack Brown." And Sally said, "It is."
You're
So
right.
if you'll please be a little bit more respectful. So we beat USC. They come to the locker room.
Mm.
They're wanting to hug me and take pictures. And I said, no. We checked you out yesterday, big
Exactly.
boy. We're off. But people forget when you're looking at sports that these are human beings.
Yeah.
They forget that Vince is is he's emotionally he could be more into Jordan playing than he was him playing
Yeah.
because you have less control. He knew he was good, but with Jordan playing now, he's got to hope it works and hope it does well. Same thing with Cooper. I mean, it's being the
Emotional roller
parent of a
coaster.
player. It is an emotional roller coaster, and that's why I can't sit in the stands now.
Yeah.
And it's not elitist. I can't stand to hear people criticize coaches or kids. It gets me. And when they say Sark's an idiot, he can't call plays, I said, "Oh boy's 51. He's done pretty good.
He's doing all right.
Yeah.
Back-to-back
So-
semifinals. I think he's doing all right.
Yeah,
Right.
he's doing okay. So
Vince, I do at some point want to see you in the stands, and when Jordan gets to college, and I want to see that same reaction from you when he.
Oh
when he
yeah,
does
me and
something
Candace
big.
gonna be over there screaming and hollering
Heck yeah.
Vince will be dancing.
Vince
will be
He'll be
dancing.
on the
I know.
sideline
with the
by
fans.
then.
With the fans, come on, give me some
With
of
the
that. Give me
fans.
some of that. Give me some of them shoulders.
Well, and it's Cooper can hide. It's kind of hard for Vince to hide in the crowd. So when he walks in, they kind of know
That's
who he
true.
is.
That's true.
'Cause he's
5', 6'6",
Yeah.
walking in there.
Yeah.
yeah.
And the people behind you wouldn't be happy because you'd be standing the whole time. They get to
Oh,
see
yeah.
around you. It's
Sorry,
tough.
sorry.
I
Love
get
you
it.
guys.
Sorry, my bad. We talk about fans yelling. We've got some stuff to yell about too. When we come back, we're going to get into the college football playoff, what the committee sees in Texas, what we see in Texas, and why they are or they're not a playoff
Let's
team.
talk about this.
And we'll get into the coaching carousel as well. The Lane train finally gets its stop in Baton Rouge. I'm sure we have some thoughts on that too. We'll do all that when we come back. This is The Stampede, a podcast on the Texas Longhorns. We're back after this. College football not feeling as juicy as it once did? Let me put you onto something that'll shake up your Saturday and every other day of the week. Because now that Wendy's has crispy chicken tendies and a powerhouse lineup of new sauces, it's time you transferred to the hottest team in the league.
That's right. Team Tendies. Wendy's Tendies. They're making their undeniable rookie season one for the books. Enjoy first-string flavor from some five-star recruits. Rep your own new favorite team everywhere you go, but make sure to cheer with your mouth closed.
Take it to the end zone of savory sauces like honey barbecue, creamy ranch, and the new Wendy's signature sauce to experience a total taste bud blitz of flavor. It's time to join a team that won't upset you with an upset. Taste the phenom that's gracing the gridiron with its juicy, crispy, and tendery tendencies.
Don't fumble the bag. Commit to Team Tendies and call the most delicious plays in the playbook. All right, huddle up. Tendies on three. Tendies on three. 1, 2, 3. Tendies. Let's do this.
Wendy's Chicken Tendies, now at participating U.S. Wendy's. From Longhorns to startups, Branded Bills has you covered. Whether you're repping burnt orange pride or building a brand of your own, nothing tells your story like a custom hat. Branded Bills is a proud sponsor of Texas Athletics with licensed Longhorn headwear that holds up from the tailgate to the stadium and through the celebration.
Bob, don't forget the sidelines and the golf course, too.
You know it, Coach. You have to look good to play good.
But Branded Bills doesn't stop there. They specialize in custom headwear that helps teams, companies, and communities showcase who they are with premium fit, finish, and style.
So whether you're a Longhorn fan, a business founder, or just someone who wants to stand out, check out Branded Bills just like mine.
Explore their officially licensed UT collection or design your own custom hat built just for you. Branded Bills, from Longhorns to startups, licensed pride, custom style. All right, welcome back to The Stampede, a podcast on the Texas Longhorns. We appreciate you joining us alongside Mack Brown and Vince Young. I'm Bob Ballou. You can catch us anytime, anywhere on social media at The Stampede UT. You can also get this podcast anywhere you get your podcast, YouTube, Apple, Spotify, or anywhere else. All right. We need to make sure everybody understands kind of where we stand here. So we are taping this week on a Tuesday morning. So it's before the college football playoff rankings come out. So we do not know where Texas will be tonight. Obviously, when this releases, it will be a little bit after that. But we still want to be able to make our case for or against Texas and kind of give you a general overview of what we think of what the playoffs kind of look like. So I'll start with you guys and kind of defer to you on first and foremost. Should Texas be in the playoff this year?
Yes, immediately.
Why?
Why? Well, just a good team. I mean, they a team that earned it. You know, from if you look at the teams that they have won, the top 10, top ranking teams, Um, they're a team that's on fire. It's hot right now. They just beat a undefeated team. Um, their fans going to travel. They're going to spend some money. Well, that is a team that is just well deserving. When you speak of Texas, not only just this year, but they've been there in the last couple of years. They've been in the playoffs and they have done well. Uh, being there. I mean, couple of things that I feel that they should have did better. In the third downs and things like that. But overall, it's a football team that is well respected, has earned to be there, and I don't feel like the record is showing, them not be able to be in the playoffs. And you look at the teams that will probably will make it, it's gonna be boring as hell. So when you see a Texas team, they're gonna bring hype, they're gonna bring fans, they're gonna buy the city out, they're gonna do everything and give you a good football game as well. So me, I'm not saying this because I'm biased to UT, but in the same time, I just know the way these guys are playing right now, they deserve it, and their strength of schedule, it showed it, and Texas going to travel. They gonna sell it out, baby. So that's just my opinion on it.
9-3 Texas Mack playoff team or not?
Well, with the media, I was asked once about being on the committee, and the media can't be on the committee, but they have you come for a day, and you're a committee member, and you look at the process, and they work really hard. They look at all the different analytics about who they played and how that stuff. Their principles were basically strength of schedule, who's head to head, comparative outcomes of common opponents, um, uh, and then unavailability of key players and coaches, which is coming up now as we look at it. The thing that I wonder is, are we really looking at who the best 12 teams are at the end of the year? If we are, Texas is one of the best 12 teams.
I don't think a lot of people would debate that.
No. And that's the question.
Well,
Should
you got
Ole
some
Miss
clowns. You got some clowns out there because I heard them, and I wish I was close to
a lot of them are comparing, like Joel Klatt compared this year's Texas team to last year's Alabama
Right.
team that didn't get in
Right.
at 9-3. And then to Sark's point on Monday, if you're going to play Ohio State at Ohio State and get beat in the opener, and that counts against you, should you play Ohio State in the opener or go get a win? Because you look at it, Texas beat number 6 Oklahoma, they beat number 9 Vandy, and they beat number 3 A&M. That's really impressive. Now, they lost to Florida. That's a killer if you want it to be a killer. They had a bad loss to Georgia. It was close going into the fourth quarter, but if you want it to be a killer, that can be a killer. They win an overtime game at Mississippi State and at Kentucky. If you want that to be a disappointing win, you can do that and make it there. So, again, I always thought conference champions should be in. I'm back to a point that I think the best 12 teams should be in.
Coach, to that point you just said, but the SEC games are tough, period, though,
They are.
compared to any other conference across the nation, right?
Yeah.
So
Well, and Bob,
that has to be in the conversation as well, because you never know. You can't say because Ole Miss was this or Kentucky was this, but they still are SEC teams that play tough every year. You never know what SEC team gonna show up on the day of the game because as you see it, it's going like this right now,
yeah,
up and
Vince,
down. You never know who's gonna win or lose.
No, going to Lubbock was tough. Going to
Exactly.
Stillwater was tough. Going to Manhattan, Kansas was tough. And nobody talked about it being tough. It was tough. It
Right.
was hard to win at those places. So that's it. And the other thing Bob mentioned during our break is that if you beat a team like Penn State, Oregon beats Penn State, and then Penn State start losing, so it takes away from the Oregon win. Maybe Oregon beating them is the reason they started losing.
Right.
So you need to take the
And
reference.
they lost their quarterback, too.
And
That
they
was
lost
another
their
big part.
quarterback. You need to take the reference of what were they ranked when you played them.
Right.
A&M was 3rd. So Texas should get credit for beating number 3 A&M. And that's it. And then you go back to if Duke wins on Saturday and they're 8-5, do you put an 8-5 team in, or do you go with two of the group of 5 champions that are higher rated? I mean, that gets confusing. Oregon could lose both coordinators. Will Stein's he's already taken the Kentucky job, the offensive coordinator at Oregon. Their defensive coordinator is a key guy at Cal in their process. And you say, well, they're going to stay. Well, I was the offensive coordinator at Oklahoma, and I took the Tulane job, and I stayed, and we were playing Washington in the Orange Bowl, and you can't have 2 jobs. You're trying to hire staff. You're trying to recruit for your new job while you're trying to beat Washington. You just don't do as good a job, and you want to, and you're trying, but man, you're burning at both ends. You can't serve 2 masters.
When your intentions are good.
Your intentions are good. And the coach wants you to stay there. So when Dick Tomey got the San Jose State job, he wanted to stay for the Orange Bowl with Michigan. I let him. It was hard because he's hiring a staff. And then when it came up with Gene Chizik and he took the Iowa State job, I said, go. We're going to the Alamo Bowl to play Iowa. I'll make Dwayne Akina the interim defensive coordinator, but you go. Because I know I've done that. And it's really, really hard to do. We had it happen at North Carolina. We're playing a championship game, and our offensive coordinator's talking to Wisconsin. And we didn't do as good a job when we're there. So that's why in my mind, does Ole Miss still get in? We took Florida State out of the 4-game playoff because they lost their quarterback. And Jordan Travis was really good.
Yeah.
He's another reason I'm sitting here. A lot of these guys put me out of coaching. But when he's out, the committee decided that Florida State shouldn't be in because of the eye test. Well, Florida State hadn't been good since. They go to the Orange Bowl. A lot of their key players don't play. Georgia kills them. They haven't been good since.
Yeah.
So that one moment. So with Lane Kiffin leaving, they don't have an offensive staff at Ole Miss. They don't have a head coach that's been there. Now Pete Golding will be the head coach, and he is the head coach moving forward. Should that hurt them in the committee's eyes because they don't have offensive coaches? Are they the same team without those coaches that they were going to be if Lane had stayed? And people say, well, it's unfair. It's unfair to those kids. We're looking at facts here. We're not looking at fair.
Yep.
And the fact is, who are the best 12 teams? So I would go back and say we shouldn't play conference championship games anymore because we're all over the place with them. We should have tiebreakers. And I would say that we put the best 12 teams in and probably go to 14, but you put the best 12 teams at the time you're playing the game. That's what we owe the fans. We owe TV. We owe the playoffs to have the best teams playing the best teams at the end of the year. That's what a playoff does. Who is the best team in the country? The only way to find that out is put the best out there against the best. And who's playing the best right now? And I think that's the big question mark. And when you've got that many committee members in there with that many opinions that are human beings, and you've got the eye test, I would rather see us have a written process where we know these factors are going to put somebody in and they're not, and not have personal opinions get involved. When we were in 2008, we got beat at Lubbock. We had beaten number 1 Oklahoma. We were 5. And we come down to where then Oklahoma beats Tech, and it comes to a tiebreaker, and we lose the tiebreaker through the Big 12, and I didn't even really understand what it was.
If I remember right, wasn't the tiebreaker who's highest in the BCS standings?
It was.
And Oklahoma was ahead of you.
Yeah, by hundredths of a point.
Right.
And then they end up playing for a national championship. We'd already killed Missouri. We would have beaten Missouri in the conference championship, another conference championship, and we would have played Florida for the national championship. But again, the tiebreakers, the eyeball test, who are the best teams? Yeah. And does head-to-head matter? If head-to-head matters, you got Vanderbilt and Oklahoma. If they come out tonight ranked ahead of Texas, is that fair? If A&M, who's had a great year, if they come out rated ahead of Texas right after Texas beat them, is that fair? And that's they have a hard job, and it's it's a mess. And when we go to 14, there's going to be 15, 16 going to be mad. If we go to 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 going to be mad. Because that's the way the process works. But It'll be really interesting to see, do they put 2 group of 5 teams in if Duke wins? What happens to BYU if they lose and go 10-2? Do they get in over a 10-3, a 9-3 Texas?
Yeah.
What happens if Duke wins? What happens if Alabama loses? Alabama goes to 3 losses. Do you get credit for playing in the championship game, or do you lose credit for losing in the championship
And
game?
also, you lost to 3-9 Florida State,
And
so
you
that's
lost to
another-
3-9 Florida State.
So there's another
Yeah.
there's another little point against you. It's funny, if in 2008, if only there was a way to tell if you were Oklahoma, had played like on a neutral field somewhere, and y'all could have figured out maybe whoever won that game was maybe the better. I don't know. Maybe that's just a
Yeah. Well, and
we'd only know.
But we had divisions, really and truly. We should have played Oklahoma to see who goes to the national championship
Right.
again, because we were the 2 best teams in the league, and that's the trouble with divisions. The 2 best teams were in the same division.
Yep.
We had beaten the team that ended up going to the playoffs, so that made it tougher for us.
Couple points to make here on Texas, just as I do think Texas is one of the best 12 teams in the country, and I think there's a case to be made for them to be in the playoff this year. They've played 5 top 10 teams this year. They went 3-2 against those teams. Of the upper echelon teams, like the top 15, 16 teams in the country, Texas played 5 top 10 teams. The closest in second place is 2. Texas has won more games against top 10 teams than anybody else has even played against top 10 teams. So that's the first thing. Second, the Ohio State thing. Ohio State beat every team in the country this year by 18 points or more, except Texas, who they only beat by 7 at home to open the season. Like, Texas has a legitimate case. All these people that are trying to say they don't, I think they do have a very legitimate case to be in this playoff.
And again, quit playing the Ohio States if that's going to hurt you.
And
if you lose.
to me, that's almost like the worst part of this. And Vince, you can probably speak to this too. If they leave Texas out, I think there's a legitimate chance that Chris Del Conte and Steve Sarkisian are going to sit down and say, do we need to play Ohio State next year? Do we need to play Michigan in 2 years? Do we need to play Notre Dame in 29 and 30 or 28 and 29? That's awful for college football. If these teams start, and they're going to the 9-game schedule in the SEC, but if you start taking away the one thing that makes, September great, that first 3 weeks you've got, neutral site games between LSU and Oregon or whoever it is. Now you're going to take those away because those teams are going to say Texas, and people say, well, who would Texas would say, let's go schedule Boston College. Let's go schedule, these teams that are lower echelon in teams. Let's go schedule Purdue for a home and home, because we don't need to play these games if you're going to discount what we've done, and you're going to say us going to Ohio State doesn't make, doesn't give us an upper edge as we go into the playoffs.
Well,
Vince,
they
what do you-
gotta figure that out. But as a player, you want to play Ohio State. You want
Yes.
to play these big games. So first of all, credit us for that. I'm guessing that's what Stark is saying. Credit us for want to play a tough team at the
Absolutely.
beginning of the game. Coach knows that I don't want to play no team that is not even relevant to the talent level that we are. We want to play the Floridas. We want to play the Ohio States, the Oregons. Is this a great matchup? Also, at the beginning of the year, it lets you know what type of team you are. It helps you find out who your identity is, who's the guys that's right or left for you that was when the game was on the line. Are we going against an opponent that's tough? Who's going to be out there and who's going to give it a all? So, I prefer to play the tough teams, and it's always like when we had the opportunity to play USC, it wasn't because of anything else. Because only thing it was because we wanted to play the best team, and just like in the NFL, you probably see a team that's probably 2-10 or whatever it may be, but when the game start, that is not who that team is. So I prefer to play the tough teams because it helps us as a team know who we are and what we need to do to be a championship team if we win or lose against a big team like that.
And I know the two of you would appreciate this. Earlier this week, Matt Leinart made the comment on Twitter that Texas did not beat a top 10 Vanderbilt team because Vanderbilt is now outside the top 10. And I said, I retweeted it, and I said, well, Matt, does that mean when you lost the national championship to Texas, you weren't the number one team?
We didn't beat a number one.
You didn't
team.
beat a number one team because you're not the number one team. I mean, it's fun, Matt and all those guys. I mean, I know you guys have a lot of fun with those USC guys now, 20 years later, but it's fun to have these conversations about this stuff. You think about like what the playoff could look like. You mentioned if Duke wins, it could be North Texas at Texas A&M and James Madison at Oregon to open the playoffs. And that's not what anybody really
Texas
wants.
out.
And Texas out. And I don't think that's what everybody wants. Or
No.
Vanderbilt out, or
No.
whoever it is. I think in the end, if you really break all this down, I think there are 2 spots for basically 5 teams. It's going to come down to 2 spots for Texas, Miami, Oklahoma, Notre Dame, Alabama. And I think that you got to pick, you start going through schedule by schedule. Notre Dame, again, Notre Dame's another interesting example in the playoff. Lost to Miami to open the year by 3, lost to Texas A&M at home, then played basically nobody the rest of the year. Their best win is 3-loss USC, and Texas beat Texas A&M by 10. Why is 10-2 Notre Dame ahead of 9-3 Texas? I think it's a fair question to ask. Why is Notre Dame ahead of Miami?
That's
they beat
true.
them head to head.
But Notre Dame is also trending here at the end
Right.
of the
No,
year,
for
and they're
sure.
playing really well because they're
Absolutely.
killing people, and I think that's what we've got to get back to. If a conference champion, I thought they should be in regardless. I don't think that anymore. I think you should take the best 12 teams and definitely take the group of 5. Let them have their 12 best teams. Because Tulane and North Texas and James Madison, what a playoff that would be. That would be fun. We'd all watch it. But it's against like teams. It's not sending them to College Station. That's just not fair because we're the pocketbooks are different.
Right.
The facilities are different. The cash is different. These teams are buying those players off those teams. So it's they're like.
And once every 10 years, maybe you have a one-off upset. But that's
Maybe.
about what you're going to get. It's
Yeah.
not going to be a consistent thing.
No, and people get mad at me and say, well, that's not fair to those teams. I think it's more fair. You got 12 with a chance to win a national championship instead of 1 that's going to get killed in a playoff. And why have that team who's going to get killed, and it's not their fault, they're really good at their level, why have them take a place of Vanderbilt or a Texas? That's just it's not what we want. We want the best 12 teams.
Yeah. I think there's no question about it. Let's real quick before we take a break, dive into the coaching carousel real quick because this got real interesting real quick as the regular season came to an end. But I want to get your thoughts, Vince. Let's start with you. I want to get your thoughts on kind of the way this whole situation has gone down at Ole Miss, where Lane Kiffin kind of, I don't want to say held the program hostage, but for in some ways held the program hostage for a couple weeks, wouldn't commit to Ole Miss, decided to go to LSU. He's leaving a team that is going into the playoff. This whole thing seems super messed up. Not just from Lane's perspective, not just from LSU's perspective or Ole Miss's perspective, but as a general thing across college football. All these coaches have to leave. And there are other coaches that are going to have to do it, where they're going to have to leave their program before they go into the playoffs if they decide to leave their program. As a player, how difficult is that to have to deal with something like that? Can you even imagine what it would be like for those Ole Miss players right now?
Yeah, it's pretty bad to me. From one perspective is as you're a leader in the locker room, and then you walk in that locker room and this is all we're talking about. It's pretty bad because of the fact that we need to focus on our next game. We need to focus on finishing the season the way we want to finish the season, how we stepped into the season, and to have our leader make a decision and to leave us. And again, what's best for you and your family as always. But the way the system is, I feel like they should wait till the season is over with to make these type of decisions. But because this is a major distraction for a young player to commit himself, his body, his time, his mental health, all of the above for a kid to do that and your leader just make a decision like that. Whatever goes on upstairs is what goes on upstairs between the institution and the AD and the coaches. That's fine. Leave that stuff upstairs, and it should be a point of wait till the season over with to make that decision because I don't. I hate to use that word that Coach Brown said. That's not fair, but um, it's not.
Facts.
Yeah, it's not fair to the players, the parents, to have to go through that because they didn't do anything. What they didn't do anything but help that coach go get a better job. but also they didn't do anything wrong in their in their position. All they did was play the game and do what they were supposed to do. They shouldn't have to have an opportunity to go to the playoff and not have a head coach or offensive staff. That for a quarterback, you don't even know what plays you finna call. You're like what? We're gonna look really bad in the playoffs because of all the distractions and all the stuff that's going on. So I really feel like they should wait to the end of the season and let all that stuff happen at the end of the season. Let's focus on the ultimate goal is, why we did this is to go to the playoff and win a national championship. So, I really feel bad for those players that they got to go through that. But some way, somehow, those guys got to, suck it up, come together as a team and those leaders that's on that team needs to say, "Hey, what's the ultimate message? What we trying to finish?" Because we're all trying to go to the next level, but in the same time, we came on this campus to graduate and win a playoff and win a potential national championship.
And this is a product of the calendar and what it looks like in college football right now. This week's National Signing Day. The transfer portal is going to open. You feel like if you're a program, you've got to go get your coach now because you don't have a choice. But Vince, I try to put it in the perspective of really what it is. Can you imagine, like, you guys are making the national championship game, you're going to the Rose Bowl, you're going to play USC, and Mack leaves, and Greg Davis leaves, and Bruce Chambers leaves, and everybody just gone. Mac McWhorter's gone. Everybody's just gone on the offensive staff. And you're like, what? Like, what are you supposed to do as a player? Like, as
Well,
much as you think, like, well, we're going to rely on our,
you don't
Ole
make
Miss a
you
sense. You're going
don't. It's not a lot of Coach Browns out there, and one of the things that sets him aside from a lot of the other coaches and um, institutions at like a UT. One thing they're gonna do is be respectful and communicate to you, period. And it's not even a question that I know that coach will communicate that to us and President Powers. They're gonna make sure that their best interest is the players. And they always said, even when I walked on campus, that was the first thing they told my mom and they told me. We're gonna always be in communication. We're gonna always tell you the truth and give it to you straight up. And that's all you can ask for from a coach and the AD with President Powers, and I appreciate that. So there never be another Coach Brown and Coach President Powers. So with all the BS that's going on right now, I hate it for the players right now.
Yeah, it's pretty awful. I just can't from the coaching perspective. What do you make of how all this is going down right now across college football?
Well, number one, the coach needs to do what's best for him and his family because if you stay, you'll get fired over time. So I got that. Number two, there's not a good way to leave. There's not. At Tulane, I took the North Carolina job. I was athletics director and head coach at Tulane. I tried to do it right. I took the job, and I took it 3 days before our Independence Bowl game with Washington. Fans boycotted the game. They were so mad at me after as we were walking out. We hadn't been to a bowl game in 10 years. I had to stay in the locker room with police for 2 hours after the game because of protesting outside. So I could have waited till after the game and not said anything and just left. But then you don't get to talk to your team. You don't get to talk to the players. We had another coach in place. As soon as the game was over, I let him have the team and talk to him. But the calendar is the problem. Right now, you people say, well, they should have let Lane stay and coach. He's going to a rival.
Right.
It would be like Steve taking the A&M job and staying to coach at Texas.
Right.
You got staff members that you're trying to get to go with you. You got players that are going to want to go with you. You're recruiting the same guys. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. And just like we said, you can't have two bosses. You sure can't have two bosses when it's your rival school. And that goes back to years and years of rivalry with LSU and Ole Miss. I mean, that was Halloween night, and there's so much history for that game that you just can't do it. So, but the same thing with coordinators leaving right now, like Dan Lanning. He's sitting there with a 2. We mentioned that. What does that do to his playoff chances? What does that do to the players where you're distracted and trying to make it work? So I would shorten the season. I would play championship games, have the playoffs finished in early January, before the portal, right at the portal. I would move signing date back to February like it was, because you can have are the kids going to sign with Ole Miss since Lane left 4 days ago and now they got to make a decision? Or are they going to go to LSU with him? Or are they just going to say, I'm not going to sign. I'm going to back off. This is too overwhelming. Do it after everything's done. And you just move things back more like the pro model, because that's where college football's going.
Right.
And don't let coaches change jobs till their season's over. And that helps the players. That's what Vince is talking about. And after it's all over, if Vince got a better deal as a player and I got a better deal as a coach, then you should take those deals. Like I said, I turned some opportunities down because I felt disloyal, where I would still be coaching probably if I'd taken them. So was that smart for my family? It was best for the players at that time. So it's a really, really hard dilemma. And I think but we've put coaches in a really bad spot. We've put athletics directors in a bad spot because they've got to get somebody. And Pete Golding gets hired immediately from defensive coordinator at Ole Miss to head coach. Would they have hired him if they'd had months to look for another choice? Will it work in 3 years? I don't know, Pete. Maybe it will. Or did they hire him to settle things down and keep all the players there because they're afraid they're all going to transfer? And that's what we're looking at. We have put coaches and athletics directors in a box. We've put them in a mess, and we're not aligned, and we need to fix it and get them out because Vince just said it. Those seniors at these schools don't have another opportunity.
Right.
That's it. So you're ruining their senior year
Yep.
with all this chaos, and this chaos isn't healthy. It's not good for the sport. It's not good for the playoff. It's not good for the playoff committee. And it's sure not good for the players. And when are we going to go back and take care of coaches? When we're going to take care of players? And when are we going to take care of fans? This isn't best for fans. The fans can't rally around Pete Golding because they're mad at Lane. And I got that.
Yeah.
I had fans mad at me. If you take a job that's so much better, fans don't understand that. They don't know that. All they know is they liked you and they wanted you to stay, and they're mad because you hurt. I've often said it's like a divorce. When people tell me I got a nasty divorce, I said that's what divorce spells.
The only kind.
It's the only kind. It usually doesn't work good. And when you leave a program, it's like you're divorced them. You have said, I like them better than you. I liked you. You were nice to me. No, you said you loved us. Well, I did while I was here. Now I'm gone, and you're the enemy. So it's just different.
And that's the best way I've heard it put in this Lane Kiffin situation is he basically said to his wife, I'm going to leave you for your rival that you hate in our neighborhood. The kids,
Your sister,
everybody here,
your best friend.
I'm
Yeah.
leaving you for her, but I would like to stay through Christmas with the kids just to be around them and get
Oh
through.
yeah,
No.
we want a vacation together. Yeah,
Be gone.
Yeah, Billy Cannon
Yes.
at LSU beat Ole Miss on a Halloween night with a 60-yard punt return, and they talk about that to this day.
Yeah.
They're not going to be okay
Right.
with you going.
Lane
to
says,
your,
I'm going to LSU and I'm going to stay for another 4 weeks here at Ole Miss and lead us through the. No.
yeah, I'm
No,
marrying
you're
your
not.
best friend, but I'm going to stay here, and we'll work through this, and we're going to end up buddies. No, it
Is
doesn't work.
this like an episode of Love is Blind?
Yes.
Is that what we're in
Yeah,
now?
there's
We're
no
back into the
question.
Bachelorette.
We're back to Love
Back-
Is Blind.
It all goes back to.
It
Love
was
is
behind.
Blind
It
with
was
Mack
all
Brown.
behind the curtain.
As
And
we've always
it's-
said, Vince, it always
it's
with
horrible,
Mack
man.
Brown. With
it's
Mack
bad,
Brown, it always
man.
goes back to Love is Blind.
I mean, you know how hard it is just to get the signing day, to have the opportunity to sign your name on a piece of paper to say that you worked your butt off since Little League football, middle school, high school, to get to this point, to go to a university that you look up to and want to, extend your career at and leave a legacy there. And, all this stuff is going on. This is embarrassing to me for a young man, a young lady that I know, that I see behind the scenes in the gym getting 100 shots up, in the football field throwing 150 passes extra, a wide receiver catching extra balls, a young track star getting an extra couple laps. This is where that they don't understand no more because they so high up making all these decisions. But don't forget, down here on the foundation, that kid is right now in the cold weather getting some extra laps in. Like my son last night didn't get done till 7 p.m. after school, and he got there at 6:30 a.m. So you have to like get to the point like, yeah, okay, it's fine and dandy to do this and do that, but don't forget like these kids are actually working their butt off to get to this university or to the next level in the Olympics or wherever it may be. These kids are out here working their butt off and they got to deal with this BS, and it's not cool at all
Yeah.
Great,
from
it's
that
a great
aspect.
point
Yeah,
by
for sure.
Vince. And think if I'm recruiting Vince and he turns down, I'm at Texas, I'm recruiting, or let's say I'm at Ole Miss. Let's just make it real. And Vince turns down Texas, Texas A&M. He turns down Arkansas. He turns down LSU. He turns down Tennessee to come with me to Ole Miss. I leave 4 days before he signs. Everybody else mad at me because I turned them down. And then they want you to tell them why you turned them down. Well, you're just not as good. I don't fit you as much. I was kidding. I do fit you. I'm coming. So now where do they go? They have made a decision that's a lifetime's dream through 2 years really of a process, and now it changes 4 days before they sign. So do they sign with a coach they didn't know was going to be their coach? Now do they go to LSU because of Lane? Does Lane want them?
Right.
So it puts high school coaches, parents, and young recruits in a horrible position for Wednesday signing day.
Got to find a way to fix this calendar one way or the other between signing day and the portal and everything else that coaches have to go through. All right.
And maybe it's so bad right now that it'll help change.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
That's
I think
usually what
and
happens.
same thing with the playoff, right? These teams that aren't going to get in, it's the same thing. Maybe they'll either decide the group of 4 needs to go or say we're going to expand to 16 or whatever it takes.
And the same thing with NIL.
And the same thing with NIL.
We got some buckets here that we need to.
It's all
fill
such
up.
a disaster that it has to change in some way. All right, we're gonna take a break, and when we come back, we're gonna get into championship weekend, and of course, Mack Brown's favorite segment, our Underdogs of the week. That's coming up when we come back. This is the Stampede, a podcast on the Texas Longhorns.
Are you ready to get off the bench and into the game? Then head over to Underdog to get in on all the action.
Playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like rushing yards, receptions, touchdowns, and more. Get your picks right, and you could win up to 5,000 times your cash.
This week on Underdog, I'm going to the 2 championship games. We're going to start with the Big 12 championship, and I'm going to go with Texas Tech running back Cam Dickey to go higher than 72.5 yards rushing. Then in the Big 10 championship game, Ohio State and Indiana, I'm going to go with Buckeyes quarterback Julian Sayin to go lower than 234.5 yards passing. Download the app today. Sign up with promo code STAMPEDE to score $100 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code STAMPEDE. Underdog. Make picks. Win money. Must be 18 or older. 19 or older in Alabama and Nebraska. 19 or older in Colorado for some games. 21 or older in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia. And present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. Support for the Stampede comes from Google. We hear commentators talk about the spread offense all the time, but what if you don't know exactly what that means? Or what makes it different from other offensive schemes?
You can keep wondering. Ask your friends and hope they know what they're talking about, or you can use AI mode in Google search.
You can just type, "Help me understand what a spread option offense is and why a football team would choose to run it." Yep, you can ask that all in one search, and you'll get an organized and helpful AI-powered response with everything you need to know.
But it doesn't end there. Let's say you want to keep going deeper. With AI mode, you don't have to start a whole new search. You can ask direct follow-ups like, break down how it compares to the pro-style offense based on overall philosophy, types of formations used, and pace. AI mode is great at these types of comparisons, giving you a side-by-side analysis and helping you get the full story from one question to the next.
So if you don't just want to watch the game, but really understand it, you can just ask Google.
Final segment of a really good episode of the Stampede, a podcast on the Texas Longhorns alongside Mack Brown and Vince Young. I'm Bob Ballou. We always encourage you to Rate and review us online at the Stampede UT anywhere on social media, and you can get this podcast anywhere you get your podcast, YouTube, Apple, or Spotify. It is time for Mack Brown's favorite segment every week, Underdogs of the Week, presented by Underdog Fantasy. Mack, you were on the verge of getting back to 500. You went with Ty Simpson in the Iron Bowl.
Wow.
What happened?
Well, I'm on the verge of going under. Period. We had momentum.
Man
We had
overboard.
focus. It is man overboard. I jumped off the boat on that one.
Man
I'm watching the
overboard.
game, and they're not even throwing the ball, and they're winning. They're staying close. So I'm saying, Auburn, get ahead. Get ahead, Auburn. So Ty Simpson will have to throw the ball, and I'm sitting there. It's 150 yards or something throwing, and there's 4 minutes left in the game, and Alabama's ahead, killing the clock. And I tried to call our bosses and say, look, I want to change. I don't think this is going to work. Nobody answered. It was really...
Vince, I'm sitting at the house trying to put up the tree, and my wife's looking at my phone. Why is Mack Brown texting you about Ty Simpson in this game? And I'm like, he's upset, Cass. He's upset. I'm sorry.
My grandson picks games, and if he's behind at halftime, he changes. I wanted to change. That was just it. I couldn't get anybody to listen to me.
Tell your
But
wife
this
to pick
week,
up the phone and text for you.
yes. That's it. Say sorry, or put a clown face on because I
Right.
look like a clown doing it. So okay, but this week I'm so proud of Joy McGuire and Kalani Shiitake at Brigham Young and Texas Tech. They've got their programs. Brigham Young's back to where Coach Edwards used to have it, and Joey's got it at a point right now where it's the best Texas Tech's been in my lifetime. It's I can't remember a team like this. So this will be a great game, but I'm going Texas Tech running back Cameron Dickey to get higher than 72.5 yards.
The pride of Austin Crockett High School, Cam Dickey, who's had a great year for Texas Tech. Mack Brown takes him to go higher. Mack is 7-9 on the year, trying to get back to 8-9 with Cam Dickey this week. Vince had Gunnar Stockton last week in the Georgia Tech game.
Yes, sir.
Lower than 247, and I think he
10
threw for
yards
10.
passing.
Yeah, he threw for like 10. So Vince moves to 12-3. We tell y'all every week, listen to Vince. Vince moves to 12-3 on the year. Vince, who are you taking this week?
I'm going with Texas Tech again with coach with wide receiver Caleb Douglas, 56.5 higher. They got a BYU defense that I feel like they can throw the ball all over. And I'm still a big fan of this Rodriguez kid at linebacker. He's a beast.
He really is.
Jacob Rodriguez has been awesome for Texas Tech this year. So Vince Young says Caleb Douglas higher than 56.5 yards receiving, as Baron Morton will probably have a big day against BYU. I had Julian Sayin in the Ohio State and Michigan game. I took him lower than 250.5, which he did go. It snowed. And it's a good Michigan defense on the road, freshman quarterback, all those kind of things. So it worked out. I'm 10-5 on the season.
Yeah, I'm really happy. I'm really happy for both of you. No, I really am.
Just I was trying to get through it quick.
Just to see you have success and to see you feel arrogant. And
that's why we
how
love you,
cocky
Coach.
you are.
You coached us to do
No.
this. This is all because of you that Vince and I are able to do this.
Yeah,
I hope you know
there's
that.
no question.
I'm going to stay with Julian Sayin in the Big Ten championship game. His number this week is 234.5 yards passing. I'm going to go lower again. I just think the Indiana defense has played really well this year. Again, a freshman in a big game, not necessarily going to throw for 300 yards. So I'm going to take Julian Sayin lower as Ohio State takes on Indiana in the Big Ten championship game. As always, sign up with promo code STAMPEDE to score $100 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. Underdog, make picks, win money. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Moving forward.
Let's preview championship weekend
Yes.
as we're here. Vince Young, who are you most excited to watch this weekend? We got some pretty big games: Ohio State, Indiana, Georgia, Alabama, Texas Tech, BYU, Virginia, Duke. We've also got North Texas, Tulane in the AAC championship game, and
both
I'm gonna
coaches
be
have
quite
taken
honest.
another job
And both coaches have taken another
and
job
are staying to coach their teams.
Yeah,
But
because they
it's-
might make the playoffs. So yeah, they're going to stay through
but
that.
that is different because they're not competing with Florida or Oklahoma State for players
Yeah.
or recruits or coaches.
James Madison also playing in the Sun Belt championship game. I didn't want to leave that one out because
Yes.
if they win, they're probably going to make the playoff.
Yeah.
Vince, who are you most excited to see this weekend?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Big 12 and with the Texas Tech BYU game and hoping Texas Tech beat the mess out of BYU just for Texas fans to know that let's take that spot for BYU.
Vince, you
In
know,
the
one of the
CPA.
things that's interesting is it's a rematch, and we're starting to get more of those, obviously, in conference championship games. But Texas Tech really took it to BYU 29-7 in that first game, just completely shut them down offensively.
Correct.
Texas Tech has not had a defense. So it's pretty interesting, right, to watch this defense actually play really good football in Lubbock, because that's something they haven't done in the past. What's impressed you most about Tech?
Yeah, the defense. I mean, when you play when we played Texas Tech when we played in the Big 12, their offense was their defense. Because of incomplete balls and just long drives and, keeping their defense off the field. And we, as a Texas football team, we had to have our defense stop those guys, which was very hard because of the Cliff Berry and, the Hodges and, the names, the list of offensive players that played at the University of Texas Tech. But I think just seeing their defense and the way they've been playing all year is fun to watch. Watching Texas Tech's football team.
It'll be fun to see what they can do against BYU as they try to close out a 12-1 season before they get to the playoffs. So pretty impressive what they've done, what Joey McGuire's done. Mac, what are you most excited to see this weekend?
Well, for our fans, it's really interesting, and you just mentioned it, Bob and Vince. Texas Tech just beat Brigham Young. Can you beat somebody twice?
Yeah.
And they beat them bad. Virginia just beat Duke 2 weeks ago, and they beat them bad. So it'll be interesting to see if those teams can win again. If you can go keep your focus and not take them as we're going to beat them. It's going to be an easy game. But my game's going to be Ohio State, Indiana. I've been skeptical of Indiana, and they keep winning and they keep playing well. And everybody says, well, they haven't had a hard schedule. They did beat Oregon at Oregon, and that's hard to do.
Yeah.
But
until Texas beat A&M, that was the most impressive win of the year,
yes,
I thought.
Yeah.
Yes. So I really want to see if Indiana is for real and they can stand up and beat what we know is a really good Ohio State team.
Yeah.
And will Ohio State have the same energy and confidence after they beat Michigan for the first time, or will they take a deep breath and relax because we finally got the Michigan stuff off our back? We're good now. We're good. Well, you're not good because you got Indiana coming in very confident, and everybody expect Ohio State to win. So can Ohio State play to that standard? Because Ryan Day has done an unbelievable job, but so is Cignetti. These are two of the best coach teams in the country. This time of the year, in this level of football, this age of football, to both be undefeated, to me, this is a game between two really good teams that haven't played each other. And they'll have a true champion come out of there Saturday night.
That's going to be a really fun game, and I think to your point, will the loser of that game lose a bye? I think that's another really interesting point in this. Like, how will the committee view these they're going to be like 5, 6, 7 one-loss teams. How will they view them, and who deserves the bye? Will the conference championship game count against you? Will it count for you because you got there and you played Ohio State close, or you played Indiana close, whoever it is? So those are some things that'll work itself out. Because you guys picked those games, I would love to pick North Texas because I want to see Drew Mestemaker play, the kid from Vandegrift here in Austin that never played until he got to North Texas, didn't play his freshman year, then played the bowl game last year, and they've been rolling this year, obviously besides the loss to South Florida. So it'll be fun to see what North Texas can do just as another Texas team plays in it. But I'll go with Georgia and Alabama. It's really interesting to think about those two teams. Georgia was it felt like from the beginning of November on, it felt like here comes the Georgia we know. And then they played Georgia Tech, and they just didn't look great. Same thing with Alabama. We just kept thinking, here comes the Alabama we know. Then they lose to Oklahoma. They play Auburn close. I know it's the Iron Bowl. Those rivalry games are different, but they didn't look like the Alabama we know. So I think that Georgia-Alabama game is going to be really interesting. Can Georgia overcome what happened at home in a home loss to Alabama earlier in the year?
And they've had trouble beating Alabama.
They've had that's another really weird one, right? Like Kirby beats everybody, but he can't beat Alabama. So that's been another one. So I know Georgia fans will be excited to see that. But all these championships games are going to be a lot of fun. What happens in the ACC if Duke wins? Do we get 2 G5 teams in the playoffs? It's so much fun to be even having these conversations.
It is. Well, and think about this now. You just mentioned the great quarterback at North Texas. How did those schools keep a great player?
Right.
So those schools, as soon as the game's over, Eric Morse is gone. They're hiring a new coach.
Will Mestemaker follow him to Oklahoma State?
Will he?
Does he
I
want
mean,
him?
that's
Like you said, does he want him?
yeah. But
It's
I've got so many friends at the group of 5 level. They lose their whole roster. So you've got guys that aren't playing anymore, that aren't in the playoffs, not going to a bowl game. There's players in there today talking about renegotiating their contracts, getting their NIL up. They're talking about getting in the transfer portal as soon as it's open. And Sally asked me last night, I thought the transfer portal wasn't open. Well, it's not, but you can say, I'm going to enter it when it does come open.
right.
And what that does is your agent starts working. He starts working deals now before you get in it. So it's really open. So you've got coaches now trying to maintain their roster. Some have to improve their roster. Group of 5 is trying to hold on to their roster. So again, coaches are going crazy right now as they're trying to have signing date on Wednesday.
Yeah,
Before we
from
go,
that
yeah,
standpoint,
go ahead, Vince.
those quarterbacks that at a North Texas should look at it as a positive for them. You
Yeah,
got 2 good years at North Texas, and the prime example is Cam Newton when he's at Blinn. He's at Blinn getting his grades up to qualify to go to Auburn, but he's also playing good football at a good school that a lot of people forget that Blinn has put out so many talented players across the world, but it gave him 2 more years to get better to go to Auburn to be the successful that he is all the way to the pros. So as you look at it, some of these things might be not what you want to do as a quarterback. You want to go to the big school, but you're probably not ready yet. You kind of gotta, trust in the system of that aspect because if you're looking at what he's doing over there at North Texas, just think about another quarterback. Like, wow, I can go be successful for 2 years at a school like that and then have opportunity to go to a big school. So I tell y'all the young quarterbacks, don't get too worried about what's going on now. Go put in the work like you see these guys are doing. And there's great examples of a lot of quarterbacks have went through that road and to be where they are today. So
It's a
keep
great
working
point.
hard,
yeah,
quarterbacks.
Yeah, and Bob, you would think if Eric Morris, he is going to Oklahoma State, if the quarterback goes with him, it used to be tampering. Now it's not. He recruited
yeah.
him, he coached him, he made him successful.
Yep.
So you should anticipate that. How many players are going to leave Ole Miss to go to LSU? Lane recruited him. He coached them.
Mhm.
If he's close to them, they're
Right.
going to call him. When I came here, I had 22 guys signed. They all wanted to come to Texas from North Carolina, and I told them I'm not doing that. You committed to North Carolina, that's where you're going to go. You stay there, and you do that. I had players on the team that wanted to come. I thought that wasn't fair. Now,
Now bring everybody.
fair died.
Yeah.
I mean, and it is.
Well, and most of the people you're going to go to that school, a lot of those players are going to leave and go somewhere else.
They
So you're
are.
trying to recruit them to keep. Like you had to recruit Ricky, but that was a much different situation to keep him.
It was. But even like when Signetti went to Indiana, a lot of the James Madison players went with him. So it's not tampering anymore. People call it poaching, which I guess it is, but you're going to lose your team if you don't have a coach in place, and that's what makes it even more tough on these athletics directors.
Before we go, I did want to ask a question about the ACC championship game, just because we haven't talked a whole lot about it, and I don't think a whole lot of people across the country know much about Virginia or Duke. But how impressed are you with Tony Elliott? What he's been able to do at Virginia in 3 years?
I love Tony Elliott. I talked to him 3 or 4 times this year. Talked to him the other night after he beat Virginia Tech because they haven't done that very often at Virginia. He had a tough life coming up. He went to Clemson. He got a scholarship. He ends up playing for Dabo Swinney. He ends up on the staff. Then he's a head coach. They have 3 players get shot and killed. And my daughter's a professor. She's a faculty member. Those young kids were killed in a parking lot at her office. She called me that night and said, Dad, you're going to hear some really bad news. I'm okay. I'm safe. He handled that. He had pressure. They gave him a lot of money last year, a donor. He went out. He revamped his roster. He got Chandler Morris, Chad from out here at Lake Travis,
Sure.
and we all love Chad, and he's done a tremendous job coaching. Fun to see his sons play so well. And here they are in the championship game, and they've had I think 3 overtime games that they've won. But he is a good man. He's doing it right, and you pull for him always because he's good for the game and he's good for the kids that play the game. So I am a huge Tony Elliott fan. I love to see him have success.
That's awesome. Every time I think of Virginia, I think of Phil Dawson. because Phil Dawson kicked and over the years, the legend's grown, but he kicked a 50-yard field goal, if you remember, back in the mid-90s to beat Virginia here in Austin, and it was 50-yard field goal into about a 50-mile-an-hour wind, and he somehow still did it. Phil Dawson, one of the legendary Longhorns to this day. So always fun to talk about these guys. Championship weekend is here. The college football playoff is on the doorstep. We're excited for this time of year. We thank you guys, as always, for listening. Mac, Vince, great stuff today. Look forward to doing it again next week.
It's fun.
Howdy.
Thank you all. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, partner.
Love the cowboy hat. Vince back in the shades. You know he's going to get the good comments from that.
Yeah, I got to get some shades too.
We gotta find something.
I tried to mine. It wasn't good.
Just watching Vince, it's like you try to match Vince's style. It's tough to do.
I am.
It's tough to do.
I'm being thrown overboard.
We always thank you guys for listening and watching the Stampede. For Vince Young and Mack Brown, I'm Bob Ballou. Have a great week. Enjoy the college football championship weekend, and we'll talk to you next week. This is the Stampede, a podcast on the Texas Longhorns. Talk to you next week.